Hi, everyone. Welcome and happy Friday. I'm Cass Foltz. I'm head of operations at Small Step. I'm here with Mike Malone, CEO and founder, and he's going to be doing a demo today of our new UI. So I'm just going to let him take it away.
Thanks, Cass. Hi, I'm Mike Malone, CEO and founder here at Small Step. Cass is here with me, helping me wrangle, hop in, and take questions. Feel free to leave any questions in comments if you have any. Also, if you don't mind, feel free to introduce yourself so we know who's here. I think there's not much visibility on attendees other than that chat window. Anyways, my background, I'm a software engineer. I'm a nerd. I'm also really involved in product here at Small Step, so I really like talking directly with customers and users. And I'm really excited to be doing this demo today. If you are here, you probably know a little bit about Small Step, so I'll do just a quick recap. We built and maintain the leading open source certificate management toolchain. So that's core infrastructure for DevOps and IT teams to automate certificate management, and we're really proud of that work. Today, though, I'm really excited to show you some of the newer work we've been doing on the commercial side. Our goal there is to make end-to-end encryption easy for everything, everywhere. Devices, workloads, people, allow them all to securely connect across clouds, anywhere in the world, over the public internet, etc. And we're building that on that open core certificate management toolchain. So we've been working with our business users to understand how they're using our technology and how we can build a valuable commercial product for them. And what we realized in this conversation is that certificates in asymmetric crypto have a bunch of benefits, but they're the how, not the what, right? They're an implementation detail. And what they really want is secure networking. And there's a lot more than just the certificate management to that. So our commercial product is really raising the level of abstraction so you can work and collaborate in terms of the devices, workloads, and people at your organization, and don't need to worry as much about managing the details of PKI yourself. Or maybe you are a PKI expert, but you need to collaborate with people who are less knowledgeable and are in the DevOps or engineering world, and you need to allow them to work with you to integrate with your PKI. We're focused on those collaboration and enterprise sort of deployed challenges. So today I'm going to show you a first glimpse of that. This is early. We launched it earlier this week. This is the third time I'm demoing it. So without further ado, let me jump right in. I'm going to do this so that you could, in theory, follow along. So I'll start by signing up. And I'll just say, we'll call this demo July 28th. Try it for free. Email address here. And the password. It's the first test. Does sign up work? Here we are. Okay, and if you've logged into our product before, some of these screens are going to look familiar. I'm dropped into the Certificate Manager tab. Certificate Manager is the hosted version of our open source toolchain. It has some enterprise features added on, like audit, alerting, revocation, HSM integration, a bunch of other stuff. And then SSH is another solution we've had for a while. It's built on that open core, and it delivers single sign-on for SSH. So it's a really cool product with great security characteristics and like a really seamless user experience. And we achieve that by modeling hosts and users and integrating with enterprise identity providers. You can link your G Suite, your Okta, Azure AD, and when users are provisioned or deprovisioned, that gets synchronized with our system, and then we use OAuth OpenID Connect single sign-on to issue SSH certificates, and this is all like it's a sort of still waters run deep situation, right? Like it looks really seamless, really transparent, but there's a lot going on, and the security characteristics are great. And the success of this SSH solution is a big part of what motivated us to build what I'm going to show you today, which are managed device and workload types for other use cases. So rather than focusing on certificates and asking you to create and configure a CA, we ask you what devices you have in your infrastructure, what workloads run on those devices, and we take care of the details. The goal today is going to be to enroll some AWS virtual machines, bring them under management, and then deploy an Nginx workload onto those devices with TLS encryption enabled. So I'm going to start by spinning up some AWS VMs. So just click in here, pull these ET727, spin up some Ubuntu VMs, select the right key pair. We'll do 3 instances. Let's hit launch. And while those are launching, I'll come back over into the small step dashboard and come up to this devices tab, virtual machines, and we'll create a new collection. So collection is just a grouping of managed devices. And you can see there are types, so different types of devices that are supported. The only one available today is AWS VMs, Azure and GCP coming soon within the next couple weeks. And then we have plans for managed devices, OT, IoT, a bunch of other stuff. Would love to hear your feedback on what you'd like to see here. So I'm going to select AWS VMs, hit submit. And now the first thing I'm asked for is just my AWS account ID. And we need this just because we restrict enrollment of devices to your account. We're doing this with AWS instance identity documents for enrollment. We can also use Nitro TPM enrollment. Either way, this locks down enrollment to only devices that are running under your account. So I'll enter that account ID, hit next. And now it's asking me to register the devices. This is a good point to probably mention that everything I'm doing in the UI is also available via API and via Terraform provider. So some of these are manual steps or feel pretty manual, but you can automate all of this stuff. So here I'm going to just copy paste the device identifiers, and then I'm going to add some metadata to each one of these, and you'll see why later. I'm going to use it when we deploy workloads to these devices. So let me just register all 3 of these VMs. And you can see they're showing up over here on the right. Register. And now hit next. Okay. So these are now registered. They're in the device inventory on the Small Step platform. And the last step is they need to be enrolled. So we need to connect to these machines, install the Small Step toolchain, and connect them to the platform. So I'm just going to SSH into these. Of course, all of this would normally be automated as well, but then I'd have nothing to demo. Okay, so I've connected to all 3 of these, and then I just need to install the tool chain. So let me just run these commands, boop. Okay, so everything's installed. And then the last step, I just need to run the agent to connect it back up to the small step to fully enroll it in the platform. So let me just do that. Just making sure I'm running the right one on the right instance. Okay, so 50, generate an enrollment token. It's going to give me the command to run. And now just need to do the same thing on the other two instances. And you can see when the agent starts, it's confirming that it's started up and got a certificate issued from the platform. We also have agent status. It's being reported back up to the API. So you should see these turning green and confirming that the connection has succeeded, but the API stuff hasn't been wired all the way up to the UI. It's probably gonna be in the next couple of days that'll be done. So we're done. Our devices are now enrolled. Oh, I forgot to rename this. Let me do that. Call it production VMs. Save changes. Okay, so our devices, our VMs are now registered and enrolled and under management, which means we can easily deploy encrypted workloads on them now. This is the fun part. So now I can click over on workloads, click new collection. Again, we launched this just earlier this week with 2 workload types, custom type and Nginx, but we have a lot more in the works. And once again, would love to hear folks' feedback on what they'd like to see here. I'm going to select Nginx for now, click continue, and 2 basic questions. Where is this workload running? I'm going to run it on that collection of devices that I just enrolled. And then what's the subject name for these VMs? So I'm going to give these, or these Nginx workloads rather. So I'm going to give them 2 names, 1 static name, foo.internal. So all of them will get that name. Then I'm going to add another name, and I'm going to derive that from device metadata. So remember earlier when I was enrolling the devices or registering the devices, I added the name attribute. I can now use that attribute as the subject name of the Nginx workloads running on those devices. And now, last little thing, this is annoying, but again, because the reporting from the agent isn't fully wired up into the front end, I have to change some of these variables because I'm running Ubuntu, and these are rel locations for the cert and the key and the CA cert. So let me just adjust those. And this, I think, is run Nginx. Normally, you wouldn't need to do that, although these advanced settings are available if you have a sort of custom deploy. Now I'm going to click. Oh, let me do this too. I can change the name. Now I'm going to click deploy. And momentarily, I think this one's already doing it, these agents are going to pick up a new configuration, see that there's a new workload deployed onto them, and obtain a certificate as configured in this workload configuration for that new workload. And I know I said this earlier, but once again, all of this can be automated via API, Terraform, Ansible, Puppet, Chef. We expect a lot of this to be done via CI/CD and build pipelines rather than in the UI. Okay, so it looks like these are picking up this new certificate. So let's just connect to one of these instances in a new terminal just to confirm that everything looks good and to complete the final step, which is to just configure Nginx properly to use that certificate. Before we do that, so let me change to root. We can confirm that the certificate is here and in the right place. So we deployed a cert2/etc SSL certs nginx.cert. So I'm using the step toolchain here. This is our open source CLI to inspect the certificate file. And you can see here it is. Certificate was issued by Workloads Intermediate CA. That's a new root certificate authority that's just for single tenant, just for this account. And you can see the correct names have been issued in the certificate. It expires after a day. It's going to be automatically renewed. The agent handles that, and will handle notifying Nginx to make sure that it's hopped and reads that new certificate and serves traffic correctly. There's audit and alerting around all of that. So if anything goes sideways, we'll let you know via webhook or SIM integration. This is, once you've got this deployed and set up, it's just like on autopilot. So last step here, I'm just going to pop open e.t.c, Nginx, sites enabled default, I think it is. And I just need to drop in the right config here. It's telling Nginx to use that certificate. And get Nginx to reload its config file. And then the last thing I'll do is just make DNS work. Editing etsy hosts here. So now that I've done that, I should be able to curl that Nginx server. So let's see, SSL, we deployed the root cert to nginx ca.cert, and we should be at vm3.internal. And there we go. So we use curl to make a TLS connection, properly configured encrypted connection to that Nginx server. And then the last thing I can do is just run that step certificate inspect command again with our roots, SSL certs. This time, instead of looking at the file, I'll tell it to do a TLS handshake. We'll give it a URL, which will have it do a TLS handshake, receive the certificate that the server is using, and output that certificate. So it's just a handy little command, again, to confirm that everything is running properly. And again, we can see that same certificate comes back with the correct subject name, issued by our intermediate, and everything looks good. So there we go. Click next here. So everything's configured. Nginx is running TLS now. When I click next, you're going to get some instructions here on configuring clients. Again, this is a point of extension that we're working on, and would once again love feedback on. Right now, there's a lot of good, deep documentation on how to configure clients to connect to this encrypted service now. But we are working on platform managed clients, which is going to give a lot more, will help us drive a lot more of this for you. So if that's something you'd like to see more of, let us know. And then I'll save and finish, and you can see the load balances are all here. If I go back into my virtual machines tabs and look at production VMs, you can see the workloads are running on them and they're all healthy. Yeah, lots more to come. Again, we're working on all that status and monitoring APIs now to keep the dashboard updated and inform you of the health of all of these workloads and the devices they're running on. And we're extending in multiple areas. Clients, we're adding new device types, working on Kubernetes support, working on managed device support. So your enterprise laptops, corporate-owned devices. We have integrations for people already, but we're working to provide privileged access solutions. So clients are people to access databases, cloud APIs, zero trust proxies, VPN, Wi-Fi, stuff like that. So we've got a lot of stuff in the works. This is just a glimpse of where we're heading with this stuff. Hope you like it and would love to hear your feedback. If you have any, feel free to go to our website, click that contact sales button. I'm sure they'd love to talk to you, or shoot me an email. I'm mike@smallstep.com. that's all I got. Thanks so much for your time. Hope you like what we're building.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, everyone, for joining, and we'll see you next time.